But security expert Professor Kwesi Aning has described that particular incident as symbolic of a country at the tipping point. This comes in the wake of police intervention to quell a protest. Professor Kwesi Aning was speaking on PM Express with Evans Mensah.
Creates a disturbing picture of youth, kids who are furious, who think their lives are not worth living, and therefore they will take the risk of attacking, a police vehicle. The symbolism in that, when armed officials run away from unarmed civilians, is that order is beginning to break down. And it sends a very clear signal that were we to organize much better, we will be able to have more victories. So when we juxtapose the two, what the conclusion one can make is that we are heading towards a tipping point in which a combination of frustrations, a sense of exclusion, and an in-depth and a growing sense of anger and a willingness to strike a blow against the state, irrespective of the outcome, is beginning to bubble to the fore. Now, this is something that we need to look at, and we need to pull back from the brink. Because when unarmed civilians decide to attack representatives of the state, that is a specific, deliberate decision that those people have made. And they've made it because they feel that life is not worth living, that they need to make their voices heard, and they are willing to bear the consequences of their actions.
Well, one of the conveners of the Fix the Country campaign, Oliver Vomavo, who also spoke on the show, says the group has petitioned the IGP to resign to allow for independent investigation into the incident.
As we have seen, are evidence of state-sponsored violence that offends our constitution and which makes mockery of our claims of being a democracy. And we think that in his authority as the highest law enforcement officer, that this must be given the necessary gravity and diligence that we haven't seen applied to the conversation. And so this is what we are hoping for. But in that meeting, we are going to be requesting him to formally resign. And he's not the only person who has failed, because we do think that accountability at the highest level must be brought to the conversation. Now, Professor Kwesi Aning will talk about this because he does have the expertise in talking about these issues, and he has said so historically, that we have consistently seen failures in our national security vis-a-vis how they deal with crowds when they meet them. It has always resulted in violence against the crowds. And we have seen them go on and claim that machetes, firearms, and whatnot. We want an independent process, which we do not believe that persons at the highest level hold that accountability, credibility to be to lead the process. And that's why we submitted that petition.
A third discussant on the show, who is also a member of the Fix the Country campaigners, Felicity Obeng, observed that there seems to be obvious frustration among the youth in the manner the security service has handled murder cases in the country. She's demanding that there should be a second look.
People are frustrated because people are sick and tired of a system that doesn't listen to them, a system that tells them that their lives mean nothing. It's not that they think their lives mean nothing. Police kill people in cold blood and they're not held accountable. So it's not like they don't think their lives mean nothing. Kaka has been killed. People get killed all the time by the police, and very few people, these people that were killed today, 3 right now, we know 2 are dead definitely. What is going to actually happen? If you read the police statement is basically justifying the violence. There's no accountability, no sense that they completely acted. There's something called reasonable force. And do we think that they use reasonable force today? When people are using things like stones and so-called machetes, shooting guns, shooting, firing into a crowd, is that reasonable force? Is that how to control a crowd? And you kept saying that, oh, it doesn't matter, the words don't matter, but language absolutely does matter, because when you start using words like missiles, and you might think, oh, it's a general use, but if it's general use, why not use stones?